I just want to encourage all of you and just let you know that God is still in control, and we are still trusting and believing that God is going to deliver us from this pandemic. So, on behalf of myself and the leadership of Isaac, we want you to know that you are in our thoughts, you are in our prayers, and we are praying for everyone that has been infected and or affected by this pandemic crisis. And we want you to know that we are coming together closer as a body, and let the love of God shed abroad in our hearts. Be encouraged, and we want you to know that we love you, God loves you, and we will get through this together. Thank you.
Healing of both body and spirit are a supreme Jewish value, and so I must adjust my involvement to follow your highest call to care for my health. While we are permitted to forego some observances in the interest of life and health, I still pray that you understand that I do this not out of neglect, but because of circumstance. As I move through this trying period, oh God, please know that I honor as best I can the spirit, intent, and sanctity of what is holy to our people.
This is the bright home in which I live. This is where I ask my friends to come. This is where I want to love all the things it has taken me so long to learn to love. This is the temple of my adult aloneness, and I belong to that aloneness as I belong to my life. There is no house like the house of belonging.
I believe that it doesn't matter, our age. It doesn't matter the situation. I think we need to continue pursuing our dreams, even in the most difficult times, because that give us a hope, a way to move forward.
That God is our guardian. He's our protector. He's our nurturer. He's the one who gave us life. He's the one who gives us death. And it reminds me that He's the one who creates, He measures, He plans, He guides everything in this world, regardless of how big or how small.
But in this time when things are tough, I hope that you will remember the light grows over time. And remember to be a little patient with yourself and everyone else, because the light doesn't go away. It just grows over time.
I can tell you these two verses have spoken life to me. So the Amplified Version says this: do not fret or have anxiety about anything, but in every circumstance and in everything by prayer and petition, definite request with thanksgiving, continue to make your wants known to God. And God's peace shall be yours.
Sources of reason and radiance, sources of courage and compassion, keep watch with those who work or watch or weep this day. May the suffering be soothed. May the weary find rest. May the sick be tended. May the dying and those who love them find peace. May the joyous be shielded. And may all of us know that we are wrapped in a love that surrounds us always, a web that connects us to all that exists.
Thank you, Caleb. Um, Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for your patience. And it's good to see everyone, at least on the first screen, everyone that I can see. We have multiple screens. Uh, Good morning. We are excited to be here. We certainly are missing the sweet aroma of Mrs. Pat's food, as we normally would have this be a breakfast. And so we know that getting some of that nourishment will come at the end of the week, but certainly this time is a little different, and we miss being able to gather together. This morning we have gathered together to say thank you and to extend our gratitude to all of you, all of those who have so diligently worked over this past year, and all of our contributors and those who have given their time and their talents and their energy to the work that we are doing. We invite you to throughout, drop your name in the chat. Talk to us in the chat this morning. Feel free to do that. So as described by Dr. Martin Luther King, the beloved community, while not devoid of conflict, is free of violence. It is a place in which our deepest values of abundance, equity, community, hope, and most of all, love are infused into our policies and practices so that every individual is held as beloved. So that is really what we've stood on for this year as we have been going forth. And certainly things are so different now, but this is the holiday season, however that is celebrated for you. But us coming together this morning is not coming together as a holiday party, but instead, again, we come to honor you, all of you who are in attendance, for your time, talents, partnerships, and treasure, and to share some Isaac stories. So I want to acknowledge all of you, our beloved community members, and again, to say welcome. We want to thank a few people this morning. We certainly want to continue to thank St. Luke's. We haven't been there in a bit, but we thank St. Luke's family and priest Father Randall. We just want to tell you thank you this morning. To our public officials and elected officials, the presidents, executive directors and clergy, just all of you. We honor you this morning. We want to acknowledge of course, our Isaac member congregations, all of our task forces, our leadership board, and our executive committee. We want to thank all of you. And then we certainly want to, again, reach out and say thank you to our the foundations and donors for Isaac, the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, the Harold and Grace Upjohn Foundation, and the Stryker Johnston Foundation. And thank you for your generosity and your commitment and belief in the work that Isaac does. Let's talk about some wins that we have accomplished this year. This has been an amazing year, even in the midst of the pandemic. Isaac is still moving forward. The Kalamazoo community is still moving forward, and we have a reason to celebrate. We passed the Housing Equity Ordinance passed this year, and a special thank you, of course, to Vice Mayor Patrice Griffin. But we are excited about the Housing Equity Ordinance that passed this year. And then if that wasn't enough, the Homes for All millage passed as well this year. And so we are celebrating those two wins. We, at least in Isaac, are celebrating our public meeting that we had. It was amazing. All of our tech people and everybody who contributed to that amazing virtual public meeting where there was hundreds of people and multiple social streams that people were using, and we were able to pull that off. So thank you to everyone who helped make that happen. So let's just touch quickly on some of the task forces that we have. One is housing. Again, we'll repeat some of this, but many candidates at all levels pledged to promote Homes for All. And the Kalamazoo County housing proposal at the end of November 3rd ballot, which was set to expand the resources countywide to address and prevent homelessness among families with children, older adults, veterans, and essential workers who can't afford market rate housing. The public officials from jurisdictions surrounding the city of Kalamazoo also pledged to work on adopting a housing equity ordinance on their own and in their own municipalities, similar to the one passed unanimously by the Kalamazoo City Commission to end housing discrimination. So we are grateful not only for the work of that task force, but the broader impact that is having, not just in the Kalamazoo community, but those who touch our borders. our anti-racism task force got many yes responses from law enforcement and officials and public officials and the prosecutors and the Kalamazoo Defender's offices on participating in enabling deeper communication and a shared understanding of systematic racism, promoting greater trust and improving collaboration, and developing anti-racist policies, practices, and relationships. So congratulations to our anti-racism task force. To our gun violence prevention, the gun violence prevention task force got many yes responses, again, from law enforcement leaders, officials, candidates, and the prosecutor on participating in strengthening mutual trust, building our capacity to communicate openly and effectively, and allowing the community to work more collaboratively with law enforcement and others for safety, health, and the welfare of everyone. Our GVI strategy, it's a community-driven strategy with the coordinator as the nucleus that includes the community, law enforcement, and social services working together in support of reducing violence, addressing societal barriers, and collectively supporting community members. This year, GVI implemented community-led individual interventions and home visits where holistic, collective, sustaining support and relationships and resources were offered to our community members impacted by gun violence. Isaac is also on the Kalamazoo Black and Brown Therapy Collective Advisory Board, which is focused on offering connections to therapists of color, to community members who are experiencing racial trauma. So congratulations, and just highlighting some of the work in our housing task force and anti-racism task force and gun violence prevention and GVI. Congratulations on an amazing year. Some of the highlights that we just want to bring to your attention as well are the encouragement videos that were done. If you were able to see any of those were amazing and certainly encouraging. The It's a Trip, right? It was the Trauma Reducing Informed Practices event that was hosted by Ed Genesis. That was an amazing event as well. And so we certainly celebrate that. The Healing Whiteness workshops that were done monthly with Lily Wolf. We're grateful for those. The Kalamazoo Probation and Parole, which supported their YWCA Brave Spaces workshop. The Strength Finders workshop that many of us participated in, that was facilitated by Dr. Pat Stromsta, and the History of Law and Racism workshop, which was facilitated by Captain Stacy, and that was an amazing event. New task force and Isaac and GVI team members. We recognize Caleb and Charlotte and Ashante, Irving, Kathy, Michael Monroe, Yafencio, Rodney, Elisa, and Pastor Stewart. We also engaged in peace and community engagement events, voter engagement, and a special thank you to Sheila and Chris, our office support staff who helped Isaac to do what they do. We certainly want to recognize you and say thank you for all of the amazing work that you do. So this time I am going to turn it over to our testimonials. And so the order that I have, unless is retired Captain Stacy Ledbetter, Teresa Outs, and Caleb, Cordelia, Coach Dick Schultz, Adrian Vasquez, Deacon Pat, and Reverend Wood, and Ashante. So if you would just come in that order, and we invite you to tell us about your testimonials. Captain Stacy.
Thank you, Elder, and good morning, everyone. My awareness of Isaac came by virtue of me being a member of the Galilee Baptist Church, at the time under the Reverend J. Lewis Felton, now Bishop, a founding member of Isaac. Aligning more closely with Isaac over the past few years or so was a natural connection. I give my time and financial support because I fully support the Isaac mission to build a more just community and to address the most pressing issues of injustice, whatever they entail, in Kalamazoo County. From banquets to public meetings, to racial healing circles, to special events and trainings, I have attended and participated on a heart connection. Isaac has impacted me in my work, formerly in public safety, and currently as a consultant and trainer and through TRHT Kalamazoo, because we are a diverse group of people on so many levels who are committed to making our community an equitable place to live. I encourage one and all in this community to give of your time and a love offering or continuous monetary commitment if you are able, because connecting with Isaac is working toward building a beloved community. In the book Stamped, Racism, Anti-Racism, and You by Jason Reynolds, Dr. Ibram X. Kendi shared the following in the introduction section of the book. There will come a time when we will love humanity, when we will gain the courage to fight for an equitable society for our beloved humanity, knowing intelligently that when we fight for humanity, we are fighting for ourselves. There will come a time, maybe, just maybe, that time is now. I submit to you, Isaac family, friends, and guests, that the time is definitely now for the equity work we are committed to, and that needs to be done, whatever it takes. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Stacy.
Is it on? Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa Oots. I have been involved with Isaac on and off for about 5 years. I first got involved with Isaac through the Trauma Task Force. As an early intervention teacher, I have seen firsthand how the effects of trauma negatively impact families and communities. The Trauma Task Force did an amazing job creating awareness and advocacy around trauma in the Kalamazoo area. Serving on that task force also taught me many valuable leadership skills, which Dr. Davis always modeled perfectly. In fact, many of my experiences with Isaac, including workshops on anti-racism, inspired me to start a cultural understanding committee at my workplace. As a white person, learning how to be anti-racist and how to advocate for people who experience oppression is a lifelong commitment for me. And Isaac has definitely been a guiding force in my journey with this important work. Another wonderful opportunity that I had the pleasure of working on through Isaac was serving on the planning committee for the Run, Walk, Roll event in 2018. This event actually was what started my son Caleb Biter's involvement with Isaac. He also served on that planning committee. And it was funny, after the first meeting, my 17-year-old then son Caleb actually said to me when we got in the car, "So that's how a grown-up professional organized meeting looks like?" And I said, "Yep, that's how it's done at Isaac." So Caleb, would you like to?
Yeah, I'm Caleb Biter. I'm the marketing and communications intern for Isaac and also a marketing major over at Western. As you just heard, that was my first involvement with Isaac. And this year I received an opportunity to be more involved through this internship. For me, this has been some of the most fulfilling work that I've ever done. And it's great to be a part of the positive change that I want to see in Kalamazoo.
So I am so thankful for all the opportunities and friendships formed and connections made, experiences that Isaac has given us. Isaac is truly a valuable resource for the Kalamazoo community. Honestly, I cannot say enough good about all the wonderful people at Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa and Caleb. So as we refer to who, Miss Cordelia.
Hello, Isaac family. I have to tell you, my journey with Isaac has been fun and funny. I initially heard of Isaac when signs were posted in my park here where I live and about an Isaac meeting. And the kids come running to my door saying, please don't sell our park. Please don't sell our park.
Oh.
So I looked at the signs and looked up on the internet, who is Isaac? What are they doing? Then that's how I became involved with Isaac and inviting Dr. Charlay here to the Quaker meeting to speak about Isaac. And the Quakers immediately got on board and joined Isaac. What Isaac has meant to me over, I don't know how many years. I love it. I love it. I loved squirting people at the 5K run walk to cool them down. That was fun and funny. I have received so much knowledge from Isaac, from Rabbi Schickler. The Jewish classes were just phenomenal. And to spread that word, and my mother got so involved in learning about Judaism from Adrian El Concilio, and I have Hispanics in my neighborhood, and sharing that with them and them telling me what's going on with El Concilio was just awesome. Talk about building the beloved community. What I do in my little nest of outreach to my neighborhood has really transformed me into more and learning more and engaging people more and helping create that beloved community, one little nest egg by the other. When I have experienced tragedy in my life, I have gotten so much support from, Isaac family with that whole transitioning of watching my mother actively die. And since then, I had to take a back seat during the time that I was caring for my mother, but tried my best to attend as many leadership meetings as I could, bringing my mama with me, who really got engaged in what's Isaac all about. And all of the porch patrols were just wonderful opportunities. Even though I couldn't do all the walking, I could stay back and support everyone. I have received so many blessings from being a part of Isaac that I hope to continue and now be more active, that some of my time has freed up during this silly pandemic. It's not silly, it's real. But I can't thank Isaac enough. Dr. Pat's workshop, I could go on and on. Stacy's workshop was wonderful, and I learn a lot and try to share it back in my little nest egg of a community, which has expanded and is becoming the beloved community. And I thank Isaac and thank Isaac and thank Isaac and thank Dr. Charlay for putting up with me. And and thank you all. I have made so many friendships, even my email queen. The queen of the emails. And what's up, Toby? I'm missing those emails. I was getting them every day. I'm slacking. But anyway, and I could go on and on, but I'll just say thank you, beloved community, for helping me to enhance my beloved community. I even have one new person who wants to be involved with Isaac and no more. That's a blessing. You do them one by one. So thank you. And I'm sorry I was late. Had a rough night. Okay. Amen. Blessings to everyone over the holidays, and please stay safe.
Thank you, Miss Cordelia.
Okay.
My name is Dick Schultz, and Cordelia is enough reason for any of us to be an Isaac. After reading over 40 books and then having deep discussions with friends and family, I was encouraged to attend a 2.5-day race seminar a few years ago with several other church members. It was at this event that I began to understand better what people meant when they talked about systemic or institutional racism and how that concept was different from individual racism. It was both uncomfortable and enlightening. I began to see ways I had either consciously or subconsciously avoided talking about this topic. I also learned that there are plenty others like me who deny, ignore, or just don't want to talk about systemic racism or microaggressions. They certainly do not want to delve into the meaning behind phrases like white silence is violence, or implicit bias, or daily injustices. I can't breathe or hands up, don't shoot are concepts we white people too often pretend we can't understand. White privilege and white supremacy don't exist in many of our worlds. And then a 5-day trip south with a friend visiting civil rights museums, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the church on Dexter Avenue that Martin Luther King spent his first 5 years preaching at, then Kelly Ingham Park and the Civil Rights Institute and the Baptist Church in Birmingham, all gave me a closer glimpse into what I had previously looked at from afar. I've always felt, though, in my coaching career that I had been fair to the people of color I had coached, treating them, as John Wooden once said, with the respect that they earned and deserved. And I don't apologize for that today, but the damage institutional racism did then and is still doing today is a whole new level of reality for me. Somewhere during this transformative period of my life, Dr. Davis spoke from the pulpit at my home church, First United Methodist in Bronson Park. I knew Charlene. I coached her in basketball camp. She played basketball with one of my daughters at Kalamazoo Central. I knew her dad and mom. She was a top, if not the top, student athlete at Kalamazoo Central. And she now had a PhD, and she was inviting me to join with her in building a more beloved community. I felt honored, and I couldn't resist. So I joined Isaac a few years ago because I wanted to learn more about why racism was still so prevalent, and to learn ways that I could do better at resisting the harm it causes. I stay in Isaac because I learn something at every meeting, and because I like being around folks who know more than I do about how to combat racism's ugliness. I like Isaac because the people I have met here really care about doing what is right. The people in Isaac are honest, even when honesty becomes uncomfortable. My friends in Isaac have teachable hearts, and they genuinely want to be on the right side of history. They are empathetic. They try to see life through the lenses of people who have been marginalized, forgotten, and harmed. Isaac members are open-minded and want not only to gather information, but also to act upon that information to make things better for all of us. People in Isaac challenge me to do more, but they also assure me that they will walk with me as I try. Isaac has changed me by encouraging me to look within before looking without. Isaac has helped me turn anger into loving persistence, a sense of urgency into patient perseverance, and hate into hope, a work I know I'll be engaged in until I take my final breath. I've become a gem, and it has added richness and even more purpose to my life. If you're still wondering about joining Isaac, I invite you to do so and see how your life will be enriched too.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
Buenos dias, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, I think I have 4 things to say about Isaac. 1, big family. 2, unity. 3, real change. And 4, everything that we do is for equity and inclusion. I've been working with Isaac for more than 5 years, but in the last 5 years, I have seen and I have felt the love, the support, the appreciation as a big family. I don't have a big family, but I think everybody in here, and somebody already said something about trust. I really trust everybody here in the leadership. Dr. Davis really puts everything out there for our community, for my community in difficult times. El Concilio has been, in the good, and now I'm in the bad, and now we're in the good. And I think Isaac has been more in the bad, and I really appreciate that. And as a unity, we have been able to overcome so many challenges. As a family, we continue to move forward, fighting for real change. That's what Isaac is all about, real change. And all the real change that's coming to our community is because we are a united organization. We are a united community. equity and inclusion, it's in everything that Isaac does. And as a minority member, I don't feel as a minority member. I feel as the majority, because we're all together from different colors of skin, different religions, different backgrounds, different gender orientation. We are here united to work for real change. And that's what Isaac's all about. And that's why I invest my time, I invest money, I contribute any way I can with my knowledge, with my skills as a member of this community. And I'm honored to work with all of you. And let's keep working together, because real change, more change are coming in our community. And it's only going to happen because we are united with Isaac. Gracias.
Thank you, Adrian.
Morning, I'm Pat Vinge.
And I'm Mike Wood. We're married, but we have different last names, and we serve two different Episcopal parishes.
I'm a deacon at St. Martin's.
And I'm the priest at St. Barnabas in Portage. Together, that kind of makes us a unity and diversity. But that's also very much what Isaac is. Isaac is a diverse community with a common goal, serving the broader community in pursuit of the beloved community. And whether your desire to serve your neighbor is fueled by your faith or your simple humanity or both, we've discovered that there's a home for you in Isaac. And in it, you will find that place where your deepest passions and the greatest needs of the world intersect.
And I love Isaac because Isaac knows how to get things done. And it does this with love for community, and that includes absolutely everyone in community. There are no exceptions to Isaac's love. Task force members listen attentively to people in the neighborhood, to agencies who work directly with housing, healthcare, community safety, and especially equity issues, which just flows over everything in our community. And after careful listening and discussion, we ask elected officials to make a public commitment to support a specific justice issue. And then we follow through.
So whether it's the task force on housing, anti-racism, gun violence prevention, immigration, or any of the other groups that might be raised up in future public meetings, we know that the actions of Isaac make a positive and tangible difference in Kalamazoo County and beyond.
And that's why our two churches and we as individuals are proud to be members and supporters of Isaac.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, Deacon Pat and Reverend Wood.
My turn. Okay. How I first came to Isaac, I moved here in December 2017, and I believe I started. I had to do some community service hours, and my grandmother, Vanessa Collins Smith, introduced me to Dr. Davis, and I started doing community service. And I think within the first month, I was actually done with the hours, but as you can see, I never left. I love the work that Isaac did. It gave me a new purpose. When I moved here, it gave me new goals and inspiration to continue fighting for justice for other people. I love Isaac. I appreciate everybody in Isaac, Dr. Davis, Coach, Elder King. I've met great people, Reverend Jocelyn, and El Concilio, TRHT. Like, I'm very grateful for everything that Isaac has taught me over the years. And it's opened my eyes to a lot more things that I don't think, I would say, the younger people, we kind of just walk blindly through sometimes, and we don't actually pay attention to what's going around us and in our communities. And yesterday we talked about our fears and hopes for 2021 in our anti-racism task force meeting, and one of the hopes that I have for next year is to be able to bring more people in from Western and other places that I do meet to get them to understand that this is their community and they need to also help. Um, so I give my time because I believe that you can't be complacent always where you are. I believe that you need to keep moving forward. And I think that Isaac is a great platform to do that. Also, it says how Isaac has impacted me. This internship this year has been a true blessing with Corona and me working in restaurants mostly while I'm going to school and not being able to actually work continuously. And now that my son has to be homeschooled, this internship has helped me so much. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity that Dr. Davis and everybody has continued to give me. It's important. It says, why is it important for community members in attendance? Building a community in which you have trust with other people who don't necessarily look like you, or people who don't have the same religion as you, or the police in our neighborhoods who are supposed to keep us safe. Building trust is what's going to hold everybody together. And I strongly believe that Isaac has done great things in the community and has built a lot of trust in the community. I love driving down roads and seeing Isaac signs. When we had our public meeting, I'm on a whole different side of town, and I'm like driving, looking like pointing as I'm driving, like, oh, there goes our sign. Like it gives me joy and happiness to see the work that Isaac has done. And I can't be more thankful for everybody that is here today and everybody in general that works with Isaac. So again, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashante. So I'm getting ready to turn it over to Dr. Davis. You know, we here in Isaac, we kind of do things by script, and everything is pretty structured and organized. But so oftentimes Dr. Davis will provide the scripts for the meeting. But when we come to these celebrations, very seldom is there a point in the script or in the celebration where we can celebrate her. And so I always end up having to take presidential authority, right, and just put it in there and just say, Isaac would not be Isaac without all of you, but Isaac would not be Isaac without the amazing leadership of an amazing, you know, and Dr. Davis is an amazing woman, but I think it's important to say she's an amazing Black woman. She's an amazing woman of color. She's an amazing leader. She helps guide all of us, guides all of this work that we do. And so I just want to take a moment, however we do, let's just put our hands together, wave our hands and celebrate the most amazing executive director in the world, Dr. Davis.
Thank you, Elder King. Thank you all. I love you all. And thank you for the beautiful words from our speakers. So we're drawing to a close here. Thank you all for hanging in there with us through the technical challenges. Just a few things. I wanted us to, and you can feel free to close your eyes, or if you don't want to close your eyes, that's okay as well. But I just want us to reflect for a brief moment and just let us think about the start of the new year, of this new year, 2020, back in January. So we're going back. So if you can go back and think that far, just think about the expectations that a new year brought you. We'll start there. Let's think about it. And then I want you to move into 2020. We can move into the twists and the turns and the surprises, the low moments that you might have had, and also points where you might have said, I thought this would never happen, or you might have said, I can't believe this is still happening. So I just want you to think about that for a moment. And then I want you to reflect on the hopes and the promises that you had, that you were hanging on to this year, that you did not let go this year, and the beauty that you saw in this year. So now I'm going to say, feel free to just raise your hand if these statements apply to you, or you can use the feature on Zoom where you put your hand up. If you have felt, said, or done the following, raise your hand. If you have cried or experienced low valley moments this year, raise your hand. If you have experienced loss this year, raise your hand. If you have felt alone or even sometimes helpless at times during this year, during this pandemic, raise your hand. If you have experienced fear or concern that is connected to your identity, raise your hand. And if you have felt some setbacks of some type or some kind this year, raise your hand. And then also, I want you to raise your hand if you have experienced deeper learnings about yourself and about equity this year. Raise your hand. If you have experienced victories or you've seen progress in this work of justice, raise your hand. If you have felt love from others or you have experienced some type of celebration, even if it was virtual, raise your hand. If you have done or seen some new and positive things that you thought were not possible before this year, raise your hand. And then finally, if you have seen or experienced the power of one's voice, the power of community, and the power of connection during this year, raise your hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to quickly read this quote and then close out. This came from Dr. King's final sermon, and he said, quote, "But I wouldn't stop there. Strangely enough, I would turn to the Almighty and say, if you allow me to live just a few years into the second half of the 20th century, I will be happy." Now that's a strange statement to make because the world is all messed up. The nation is sick. Trouble is in the land, confusion all around. That's a strange statement. But I know somehow that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. And I see God's working in this period of the 20th century in a way that men in some strange way are responding. Something is happening in our world. The masses of people are rising up. And wherever they are assembled today, whether it is in South Africa, in Kenya, in Ghana, New York City, Atlanta, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, or Memphis, Tennessee, the cry is always the same. We want to be free. And then so finally, in our faith, we are taught that there is power in our words, there's power in our tongue, and that we can speak good and just things into our world, into existence, even if we don't always feel them, even if we don't always see them right away. And so then going into 2021, I want to invite you all now to go ahead with one word or a few words, those good and just things that you want to put out there into 2021 that you are believing to see. I invite you now, that one word or that phrase, to go ahead and verbalize that. You can unmute, say it, and then mute again. That one word or phrase that you are going to speak into existence as we move together into 2021.
Healing.
Stop the violence.
Justice.
Unity.
Building trust.
Equity.
Grace.
Equity.
Resilience.
Commitment.
Mercy.
Equity.
Hope.
Truth.
Equity and justice.
Peace.
Systems change.
Healing and compassion.
The mountaintop.
Victory.
Connection.
Family.
All the above.
Thank you all. Thank you so very much. Love to you all. And I am turning this back over to Elder King to close us out.
So thank you, Dr. Davis. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the beloved community. Just as we prepare to close, we want to remind you how important it is that we continue to raise money for this work that we do, and that we can continue to become sustainable as this work even now is more urgent than ever. And so we invite you, if you're not already, to become a GEM. Stands for Give Every Month. We can put the donate link in the chat, which Dr. Davis has done for you to donate. We certainly know these have been trying times for so many, but at the same time, we recognize how important this work is that we are doing and must continue to do. And so my closing remarks, if you will, just go back to what I read at the beginning. One of the most amazing things to me about Isaac and about all of you is that when I look at this Zoom screen, when I look at the work we do, I actually see the beloved community. I've read that statement so many times for so many different events. And so it's easy to read it, but it's so amazing to actually be able to see it. We oftentimes in Isaac say it's about putting feet to our faith. And so we have put feet to the beloved community, and all of you have helped to do that. And so as we go forth into the rest of this year, and as we prayerfully begin to embark on a new year, I want to thank each and every one of you for being a true picture of the beloved community. You all are amazing. You promote, as Dr. King said, while not devoid of conflict, is free of violence. It is a place in which our deepest values of abundance, equity, community, hope, and most of all, love are infused into our policies and practices so that every individual is held as beloved. And that is the hope that we have here as Isaac, that we continue to do that. And it's each and every one of you all that give us that hope, that we are truly building a beloved community here in Kalamazoo and to the surrounding areas. And so thank you, everyone, for your commitment to that beloved community, for your commitment to Isaac, for everything that you do. Just a reminder, I think this weekend is when you pick up your food, right, that you normally would have probably eaten this morning. But we're grateful for Miss Pat. I don't think she's on here, but we want to thank her for still being willing to do what she can to say thank you to all of you for your contributions. And so, Dr. Davis, are we good?
Almost. I just want to say, Elder King, and a lot of this is in the chat as well, a special thank you to you as our president. You have stood in the gap through the valleys and the mountains and back again. And so we could not do this work without you. So a special thank you to you. We love and appreciate you, Elder King.
Concede, Mr. President, concede.
Now we're done.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again for your patience and your love. Yes, Wendy, that was going to be my last words, right? The perpetual president. But we are grateful to all of you, and have an amazing, wonderful rest of the day. We love you. Thank you.